y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Peach Talk. I am your host, Peaches, and today I have a wonderful panel with me. We have AV down at the bottom. Say hello to the folks, AV, or Avid, sorry.
That's good. That's good. Let's go. What's good, y'all?
We have, y'all know him from other shows, Mr. Sexologist Stephen Smith. Say
What's up?
hey.
What's up? How y'all doing?
And then I have Miss Quadisha. Go ahead and tell everybody hi.
Hey, everybody.
Mr. C. Hightower, how are you?
What's going on, everybody?
And I have Miss Amisha B. But she's working on getting in with us in a minute, so y'all will see her in a minute. But today we have a extremely good show for you guys. So, guys, we want to start off by talking about this whole dating scene. Like, how y'all view it nowadays? Because to me, it's been a little bit weird. Like, you end up in more situationships than relationships, and I think no one is really intentionally dating anymore. I think everybody is just like kind of going with the flow of things, and it's just kind of like aggravating. What y'all think?
Well, I don't know about the dating situation, but I feel y'all pain in terms of the single people. So, I mean, from what I hear, it seems to be a little rough out there with qualifiable relationship candidate worthy people. But
Yeah,
I think, me personally, I think it's a preference though. Like, it's almost like things that you should probably be doing in your 20s, people are doing in their 30s and 40s now. Just because of the quality of how people may have been raised or society or just
right.
maybe trying to really come into themselves, like that whole movement of like self-love. There's so much that's pressed into you that you don't really recognize comes from like maybe how you're raised and your environment. So when you're like the liberation and freedom to try so many different things, traveling more, experiencing more things, it may make you want to be attached to other people that you typically wouldn't want to be a part of.
Mm,
But because you have never experienced it before, or like culturally, we might not have experienced it before, I think it's just so many avenues for options. So,
true.
I mean, it's kind of like, well, why settle for one thing when you could have the many? But I think it's natural to be like that, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I just hate that, there isn't a so I for one usually date intentionally. That's why sometimes I will not be on the dating scene for a reason because people don't know how to actually put forth effort to build a bond. Like everybody is like it seems afraid to build a bond with people, so it's like, well, I'm just going to sit back and let this person prove to me that they're worth my time. And it's like when everybody has that mentality, it's like how can you ever really bond or get through into not even just marriage, but a relationship or any type of commitment.
But it's like uh, if the mentality is how do I prove to a person if they're worth my time, I think there's like some self-love issues there. Like I want to share
Mm,
myself with somebody, and if I have to be, but I have to know me, right?
true.
So that's why I think like situationships that don't necessarily translate to good relationships has everything to do with the individual people in terms of like maybe what
Where they
they
are.
see about themselves and their contribution to things. Maybe
Mm,
they're not ready, but they don't know it. Maybe they're traumatized from something, whether it's trust issues with relationships, abandonment, all that kind of stuff. Like I ain't no psychologist, but I think it all relates.
right. Yeah. I mean, what you got on it, Mr. Sexologist? Because people have this notion that all you talk about is sex, but
Yeah,
it's really based on saving relationships. So
yeah.
tell what's your input on this dating scene?
Um, the dating scene, I think, is exactly what it's always been. I don't think there's really been much of a difference between 80s, 90s, 2000s now. Everybody try to stamp it and say it's so different when it's really
Yeah.
not. Broken people find broken people and they create broken
Exactly.
relationships. People don't know what they want in a relationship. People don't know what to look for. People don't know what love is. People don't know how to recognize love when it walks into their lives. And so people often attach to people that reminds them of themselves or is going through something that's similar, something they can relate to. That's why when
Mm,
people say, "Well,
trauma bonding.
if the vibe is right, the vibe is right if we can relate to something." If you tell
Right.
me your problems and then I relate to your problems, you feel like we have a vibe right now. When we really don't, we just relate to something, which creates a situationship versus a relationship. So dating has been the same for a long time.
So
And
what
I
you're
think,
saying is it's a lack of knowledge somewhere.
Correct. A lack of knowledge of love.
Mm.
People do not understand how to love and what love truly is. And so when you
Mhm.
get into a relationship, you look for love as the end goal. I want somebody to roll with. I want somebody to spend the rest of my life. I want somebody to build with. But the foundation of your relationship is based off of who got a beard, who got tattoos, who got muscles, who got a big booty, who got, you know what I'm saying, who thick, who. This is the
yeah,
foundation, and none of these things have anything to do with love. How much money do you make? How much, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Are you a provider? Are you a protector? Are you the,
And
that don't tell me nothing about how you're going to love me, how you're going to love my children, how we're going to
true.
grow in adversity. None of them things. So we search for stuff that's physical, stuff that's
And
replaceable.
you know what's funny? That it's funny that you say that because, and you can also see the difference in where people are because I'm the type of person that I've stepped outside of my typical physical type before, right? So, you know, in some aspect, I've tried to step outside that physicality of it all, right? And for whatever reason, because of the simple fact that I've actually done the work, I've actually been to therapy, resolve. Well, I won't say no one is ever completely healed, right? I mean, we all have things that will, slightly trigger us or revert back to a certain type of feeling that we don't like, right? The process of healing is understanding, identifying, and choosing differently, right? So I've done that work. And when I start meeting people, I start realizing, okay, this person may not necessarily be as well rounded or may not understand themselves emotionally. So a lot of times I will sit there and try to help, like, and I think that's the wrong way to go about it because I feel like when people don't, it's like a, I'm gonna have to say it, it's like a crackhead until they hit rock bottom. they won't they won't be in a space where they want to fix themselves. I mean, let's just be honest. That's kind of what it is with dating. It's like you got issues, you got trauma going on, but you're not gonna fix it because you feel like, oh well, ain't nothing wrong with me. I'm good. But until you start seeing, hey, damn, now I'm pushing 60 and I'm still by myself. Maybe it's me, but sometimes some people don't even see that until it's too late. Evan, how you been doing?
I'm good. Um, I see your point. I think when it comes to dating, I think a lot of people I think a lot of people have to relearn how to date
Mm,
after going through situations. A lot of and it depends on, I hate to put it on age, but when you're 30 plus, 40 plus and have been in long-term relationships or divorced like myself, things are a little bit different when you try to get back into the dating scene.
ooh,
You know what I mean? And a lot of people that get caught up in like situationships, it's like they forget their standard for
mm,
for what for what dating is to them. You know what I
right,
mean? Like I don't know how many times you heard somebody say they've been in a situation where they have to ask their partner or ask the person they're dealing with, so what are we?
ooh,
What is this that we're doing?
ooh,
You know what I mean? And I tell people all the time, I'm like, if I'm dealing with somebody, if you have to ask me what are we, then we're not that,
yep, yep,
because that's a conversation, and those are things that people forget when they're dating. And when I talk about dating, I mean like when you're going on dinner dates or dates at the park or whatever. These are the questions you ask when you get involved with somebody or when you decide to make something official. How does that conversation work with you or whatever? So that
yeah,
way, 5 or 6 months down the line, you're not asking that question like, "Hey, so
right,
are we an item? Are we this? Are we that?" You're not looking silly in a situationship because you found that answer out on date number two of how that
right,
situation works with that person.
right. I think I've made that mistake several times before where I just assume because I'm telling people, hey, I'm dating intentionally. And when I date intentionally, I'll say this, and people look at me crazy when I say this. I date a person as if that might be my husband. Okay. Not
Right.
saying that's gonna be my husband, but I date that person as if that's gonna be my husband. So if anything, you're in competition with yourself. And if you can't beat yourself, baby, I don't know what to tell you. Because my focus is on you, my energy is on you, my attention is on you. I'm gonna do as if we are already together, basically. I'm going to talk to you in a way that we are already together. I am going to move in a way that we are already together. And again, that is not to say we're going to end up together, but I want you to
Right.
have 100% of me so that you can make a discretionary, you can decipher through everything that you see that I'm presenting in front of you. Is this woman really worth it? You see what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, I don't want you to question where your position lies with me. And I
Right.
would expect the same. However, you have a lot of people that confuse that as in, oh, she's just trying to make me her man. No, I ain't say that. Because remember, it's two people in this. Yeah, you may see me as wifey material, what they always say, but are you husband material to me? And if I don't feel like you're a qualified candidate, I still have that choice to decide if I want to leave the situation too.
Mm.
So I'm sorry. Corey, how is your I be
I'm,
going
I'm,
on my
I'm,
soapbox, baby. I'm sorry.
I'm with you 110% on the expression on that. And that's the same way I try to present myself walking in. I try to identify the female as if, hey,
I
this is
can
going to be
hardly
long
hear you,
term.
sweetheart. I'm so sorry. It's
You,
like
you can't
really
hear
low.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you better now.
Okay. Yeah, I said I go into the same situation, with that same mindset, as if that person will be there, long term. I mean, that's really the only way you can kind of uh, get a feel, of that true person or whatever. And I mean, for me, uh, my experiences, I feel like I come across like, with a female, you know, it's kind of like, what can you do for me? It's like walking
Mm.
in the door, though. You know what I mean? And I just feel like, that's a two-way street, though. What can you do? You know what I'm saying? Like in a relationship, like basically we're both here to serve each other.
Woo!
You know what I'm saying? You know,
Yep.
that's just, and I take that from, like my brother, said before, I'm coming from a divorce situation as well. So my outlook on dating is totally different, you know. And for me, I've been with divorce for 4 years now, and I literally just started dating. Like I just recently got a girlfriend like 2 months ago. But I had to kind of sit
Mm.
back, evaluate myself, uh, you know, figure out, okay, hey, what went wrong in my previous marriage, and I had to work on self first
Mm.
before I started back dating. So,
And that's key.
you
I
know,
think a lot of
so
people don't do that. A lot of people don't work on themselves first before they start hopping back into the scene. And then so you end up meeting people that are not on you're not even qualified for that person. So I don't even know why you even try to attempt to be with that person. But a lot of times people just want that companionship and they may see something in you that they just want to gravitate to. And then it's like, okay, well, I want this, but I'm not willing to put in the work to keep this. And so that's I think where a lot of the issue is sometimes.
Mm.
right, right.
When I
And
was
my thing is like, if I don't see you putting forth the effort, I'm gonna pull back. So you're not gonna get it out of me. That's just
Or even being clear, like even if you asking for clarity to say, hey, you know what, I probably wasn't you know clear, or I didn't do my due diligence in the beginning to ask you, but hey, what moving forward, how do you want to work this? Are you intentionally trying to date me, or are you cool with just how we've been doing? And if the person usually can't give you an answer, it's typically like, okay, now I got my answer. I know exactly where it is. That means you don't know what the hell you want. So I'm gonna let you figure that out. And I'm gonna be over here if I'm still available. You know where to find me. But it's just one of those things where I mean it because you don't. This is the thing. I gauge my energy based on what you tell me. So if you say you want a companionship, that means don't call me at odd hours of the night. None of that. Don't call. Don't call me. It's hey, I'm bored. I need somebody to go hang out with. Can you come hang out? That don't mean we having sex. That don't mean, because sex is not on the table for companionship for me. Even a
Right.
friendship, sex is not on the table for that for me. If we are dating intentionally, then it's a possibility you might get some. But at that same in that same breath, I say you have to also look at the actions of that person. Is this person actually investing in you as you are into them? And if they're not, then you might want to reevaluate the situation. Hold on. He
Mm.
said you guys been on dates where it did period on date. What? Where there's an awkward
Yeah,
silence.
yeah.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
that's the worst.
yeah. Like you would talk to that person on the phone like crazy, right? But then when you get in front of them, it's like, what am I doing
Yeah.
here? So yeah, I've been on those types of dates. So like, do y'all think that I know for me, um, over time and based on age, like my attraction changes. Have y'all like witnessed that?
Yes. 100%.
Like,
percent
Absolutely.
cause I mean, it'd be like some like I might like the muscles and I might like the tallness and might like all this lusciousness, right? And then like over time, I'm like, ah, that's cute to look at, but it don't do nothing. So it's like that doesn't attract me. I mean, it's nice to look at, but like I am more attracted to like substance. I need to have an intellectual conversation with you. We need to talk about subjects outside of just regular stuff. Like I need that engagement. Like,
I,
what
Yeah,
about
I,
the,
you?
the
I,
worst thing is when you meet somebody that's exactly your type physically, but then they offer you nothing else but that.
I like
It's like you meet them and you
intrigue.
hope that they have everything else, but it's like, damn, no conversation, no, you know what I'm saying? You can't talk about nothing with this person.
Right. What you were saying, Kadesh?
Intrigue is important. Like I like you to intrigue me constantly. But I think that's what dating is. Like for me, I look at dating in my eyes, it's a discovery period, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Hmm.
a mutual understanding of, let me understand what drives you, makes you tick, makes you glow, brighten up, and then you do the same thing. To me, in that exchange, you learn whether or not a person is really compatible for you and
Right.
you're compatible for them. I think what people, in my opinion, jump into is that they already have this idea, like whether it be pressure, oh, I want to be married, oh, I have to have, this. I wasn't like, when I was dating, I could give a shit. I didn't care less. I wasn't thinking about that. I wasn't thinking about no kids. I wasn't thinking about getting married. I had, before I married my husband and I got married, or actually before we even started dating, I was in a very long-term relationship, and then that relationship went to hell, and it took a long time to pull away from it, just because it was for such a long time, and you're connected to that. And I was young. I was
Right.
17 to like all through my 20s with this one person, and then the inevitable happened, and it was like, oh my god, what do I do now? My 20s, I was with a person and I wasn't married to him, but we were committed. I was committed, he wasn't committed, I found out. And so you go through that whole process, but the good amount of time of my whole 20s is like, it's gone. So what do I
Right.
do? Well, I have to learn how to date me. So I started to really get into me and what I loved, and finding out, what makes me special, what makes me, Quadisha. And it was important to do that. But I did date, because let's be very clear, sometimes in order for you to find out what you like, you have to experience what you don't like. And that's
Mm-hmm.
why I think
Hmm.
dating is important, because it'll teach you, you know what? I actually would rather spend my time on my couch versus talking to you or twiddling my thumb at a table where we don't have a conversation and it's just dead air. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So,
Exactly.
but you have to experience those things in order for you to truly know, like, you know what? I like that. I don't like that, but I really like that. And
Mm-hmm.
then the situations are all different. If I'm thinking 10 years from now, well, is this person a kind human? Like, for
Mm.
real, quality. Like,
Exactly.
we're not talking about fineness, because you can have an accident, get distorted, you can lose your
True. Very
mind,
true.
all of those different things. You can go broke, all of those things that are superficial. But are you a kind person?
Person.
If something happens to me, if I'm sick, will you stay there to help take care of me? Will you make me your priority?
Right.
Right.
Those things I think we don't value enough, but I also think that it's because a lot of us aren't taught that.
Right.
You know,
Right.
we're not taught to think in that way. Not because we just don't have the information, but that's um it's about love, like
Right.
understanding what real love is. And a lot of that stems to me households. Like, your mom is busting her ass if she a single parent. She doesn't really have the tools maybe to teach you how to do certain things, because she's trying to cover the bills, she's trying to raise the children, she's trying to stay sane for herself. And then you may have, a different kind of relationship where you have two parent household, and it all balances out. Or you may have a dad who has to take care of his children, and mother may not be. Whatever the scenario is, I think that it's just, you have to learn to take from those situations and find out who you are, and then apply that to the dating scenarios. Because in those dating scenarios, I think you really find out who you are if you're paying attention. Like, if you're really
Right.
honest and truthful with yourself, and you trust yourself enough in the process to be able to reflect on your learning and your growth, to be able to make decisions that are going to be beneficial to you, and then ultimately your partner, whomever you choose to be with. So I think you get a lot of situationships because, as everyone said before, people don't really want to do the work to find out who they are,
Right.
Right.
and then they just jump into whatever their interest might be. Interest is great, but keep that on the dating scene. Like,
Right.
I like dating you because when I'm with you, I have fun, but that does not mean that I want to be in a relationship with you.
Right. Well, and
It's
see,
just
this
like
is
you
the
vet
thing.
your friends.
This is the thing too. You also within dating can find out the things that you truly like, because sometimes you may not know what you like, right? And so I've been in situations where I know when a man likes me, like genuinely likes me. Now, the only problem with that is he can genuinely like me, and then other things about his character may be flawed, and it's just like certain things are non-negotiable for me. And a lot of people don't find out what their non-negotiables are. So they'll sit there and put up with certain things and be like, oh, well, later on down the line, be mad at this person because they didn't change. And it's like, well, you knew
Mm,
this was a non-negotiable when you first started talking to this person,
right.
but yet you still continued on. And so I had to sit strong with, like I said, I've been through therapy. So I had to like list all my characteristics that I'm looking for in a man, and then what are my absolute non-negotiables? What are the things I will not bend on? And it has helped me in dating. So I don't necessarily, if a guy says, "Oh, you're so pretty," I'm like, "Uh-huh, no, okay, what else?" But if a man comes in talking about, "Oh, dang, I noticed this that you've been working on this, or certain things that make up me that you can somewhat select out of certain social media, that's the stuff that's important, not just, oh, yeah, you were fine, you got a fat ass. Like, nothing to
Yeah.
do with if I'm gonna be able to make you laugh, if I'm gonna be able
Right.
to keep you peaceful. Like, when I come into somebody's life, it don't matter if we're friends, it don't matter if I try to bring a sense of peace. What do you need? How can I be of service to you? But I never end up, or I rarely end up getting that in return. I do get it sometimes, but not often in this scene.
There's a
For the
lot of people
men,
that don't know that they have work to do before a relationship or for themselves. Period. A lot of people learn that they need to work on themselves from other people that are working on themselves.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like for instance, for me, when I got out of my I've been divorced now for about a year and 6 months now. So when I got out of my marriage, one thing that me and my ex discussed before we ended our marriage was there were things that we both knew we needed to work on for ourselves before we got into another relationship. It was like regardless of who was to blame in whatever happened between the relationship, it was like, okay, I know I can't go into my next relationship being guarded or not being vulnerable enough or not letting this person in to my emotions enough or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of things that people don't know that they need to work on before they get into another relationship. They just go find the next person that they're attracted to, or the next person that makes them happy, or the next person that shows them attention, and they get involved in that person, and they end up getting into a relationship not being you like you said before. You're never fully healed or whatever, but you still need to be healed enough before you deal with somebody else.
Yeah. And
You know what I'm saying?
and
So it's a lot of things you got to work on yourself before you know what you actually want, and you can't be afraid to let somebody show you something that you haven't experienced before. You know what I'm saying? I
that
can say
part.
I know what I want, but yeah, I can say I know what I want. I can have a whole list that I'm checking off boxes of. She does this. She looks like this. She's ambitious or whatever, whatever. But I can talk to somebody and they can show me something that I didn't even know I wanted,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and that's what intrigues me. Like somebody showing me something new. You know?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
growth, though. You really have to be in a growing stage to be able to accept when somebody is exposing you to something new. Because you have so many people who are not willing to accept that. Like, if
Right.
if I'm the teaching, it's being the student essentially. Like,
Right.
not knowing how to be a student for life, I feel like it's detrimental to relationships.
Mm.
Yeah, I think too with this 80-20 rule thing too that everybody got going on, it's like you could have the whole 80% and people don't understand you can work on that 20% to get 100, baby. I'm just
True.
saying, but they be so looking at the 80%, they like, you know what? I think I could get a little bit better, and it's so funny because it's been situations where okay, and I get it here you have myself, right? I have three children, three beautiful children from past marriages, not just relationship marriages. So like I have these kids. I you know, w- I'm doing well for myself. And I'm I'm a good person. I will say that. Okay. I would think that, anybody that I've encountered wouldn't have a bad thing to say about me, right? But then you have this other girl over here that might have no kids. And you think she has, oh, because she's beautiful and she has no kids and she has everything going, that this might be a better situation than what I got over here, even though this is good, but I can get over here. And then you get over there and you be like, uh, this ain't what I thought
Just
it was
stayed over
gonna
there.
be. I should have stayed over there. But by the time you go back, that person you don't hurt that person. You don't got that person to the point where, okay, well, you no longer my type. Even if that person doesn't go on
Right.
to another person, now they don't want you because it's like, well, you had me. Like you really had me, but then you decided on going somewhere else. So how you know what I mean? So a lot of times we run into that situation where I've had people come back to me and say, "Well, truth be told, this girl was offering me ass and you was taking too
Mm.
long." I was like, "Hey, well, you weren't patient enough, baby. So now you'll never know what this little
Right.
boy do, this thing do.
Mm.
So I can't help you. I can't help you." So yeah, but and then like I said, some people are more experienced even with sex, and especially when you're talking about when a woman is dating a man. Sometimes a man can encounter sex a certain way, and they're just like mind blown with that sex. So they're like, "Oh, well, this is okay, but I want this type of," you know what I mean? And so a lot of times, some men will choose a situation with someone else based on just that quality alone, and then wonder why you get mad when now you done married this woman and she don't want to have sex with you no more. Because the
Mhm.
connection wasn't there.
That's a lot of ego and pride, though.
True.
Like to be, in my opinion, to be in a situation, well, a relationship just based on sex. Like, come on,
Yeah.
that's so damn shallow. But it happens all the time. But I think it has everything to do with that person, like the guy. If that's the guy making the choice, if it's the girl making the choice, then that's fine too. But it's the person. Like, that's shallow as hell, though. You got to really check your ego about that.
Very true. Very true. And I like how this person said that some people also get into this mode of I don't want to be alone, but sometimes you need to have that alone time. And I completely agree. Because I'm gonna tell you, even if I'm in a relationship, I'm gonna need my me time. If I gotta be up under
Right.
you 24/7, hey baby, look, the girls want to go out to brunch. We'll holler at you later. Now, when I come from brunch, you might get a treat, but for a moment, I need to walk away because you're getting on my nerves.
It's what you do with your alone time that matters, though.
Very true.
Yeah,
Very
some people just think that being alone will fix something. It's just like when people say time heals. Like time don't heal nothing. It's what you do in that time that heals
Correct.
things.
true.
Correct.
You better say it, Evan. You better say it.
That's
It'll
why when I said
definitely
earlier, I dated myself. I didn't go on dates with a whole bunch of people. I dated literally. I dated me. I made dates at restaurants. I traveled by myself. I went to the things that I love to do for me. I did museums, concerts, reading at the library. Like I did all of these things. I dated me. I think it's important.
Right.
Even if you are in a relationship, I think you still need to date you so that you can
really
learn.
good.
Like, did I grow and evolve out of the relationship that I'm currently in? Like, it's important because when you're in a relationship, you start dedicating your time to the relationship, and sometimes
Right.
that you don't prioritize yourself
Mhm.
anymore, and then time passes and now you look
Start
up and you're
losing.
like, dang, who am I? Well, when you continue to date yourself in your relationship, you don't I don't like to say lose yourself, but you just maybe become disjointed with who you are,
Mhm.
and you may also not realize that it's okay to change in your relationships.
Hmm.
When you're in a relationship, if you're evolving. Like, if we have to sit and stay the same, we can't grow, and that hinders us from being our greatest selves, right? So
But to
I
your
don't know, I just think you have to really just go for it and try to be your best self, and be respectful of other people changing too, because I think that's
right,
the other thing. Like, two of you are divorced, right?
Hmm.
But change happened. Like, you obviously came to a point where you were like, you know what, this is mutually, it's not working for us
right,
anymore. That
Right.
change had to happen. But if you would have stayed and tried to fight it and was like, you know what, this ain't gonna work, and
Right.
they can't meet you in where you are, you can't meet them where they are, it's a clash. So it's I think it's fearless to move in a direction to where you sever yourself from something that you were so emotionally attached to. That's guts.
I think it to your point, like I tell people all the time, I am Ashley outside of title, right? So if I decide, hey, I'm gonna marry somebody and that's gonna be my husband, I'm also Ashley outside of being a wife. Hell, I have kids. I'm also Ashley outside of being a mom. So a lot of times I used to, and I'm gonna tell you, so this is very important too. Like even when I was going through my divorce, I had my children go through therapy because I
Mm.
knew how it would affect them emotionally, right? And so we are able now. My kids tell me everything, right? Sometimes I don't even want to hear it. Okay, I'm just like somebody, it's too TMI sometimes, but I like that relationship because I can also not feel guilty about if I want to go hang out with my friends or if I want to go on a date. Like I don't have to feel guilty for having my kids, go with their dad or, have my mom watch them or whatever the case may be. I don't feel bad because I do know that I have to take care of me because if I don't take care of me, I'm not going to be good to nobody else at the end of the day.
True.
What's really dope about what you did, Ashley, is what I feel like a lot of parents may or may not do, but a lot of us don't know to do it. It's the therapy component. Think about your children 10 years from now, or in an age where they're starting to be a part of relationships. Them being comfortable to talk to the person that they should trust and depend on the most, and being able to have that open dialogue sets the tone for so many successful opportunities for them to be in good relationships going forward. At least being able to try to talk about their feelings, not being able
All
to
the help.
express themselves. And it's really about everything that we're talking about now in present time, when future value of that is so relevant right now, like in what we're doing right now. Like, a lot of emotional intelligence and not being able to communicate your feelings and really talk, especially with Black men. Oh my God. Like,
Right.
being able to have a dialogue and share your feelings without being judged or shamed or, abused for doing it. I
Right.
think that is so important, because I feel like that's why we're having so many issues with self hate, not being able to have self-love, not being able to have the conversations. And even way back to the beginning of our conversation where we were talking about being able to be bold enough to tell somebody, you know what, this not gonna work out for me.
Mm-hmm.
And being okay with that, like in the
Right.
dating stage, you know what,
Right.
it was good, but this isn't gonna work for me. And
Right.
not being stuck on, well, what is this? Well, if
Right.
I know that it's not working for me, I want to feel comfortable and confident enough to let you know that my time is valuable and this doesn't work with what I like.
Right. Exactly. So, okay, now I actually have a question for the guys with this, right? Because
Oh boy.
I know Steve Powers said he just got into a relationship. So, how long does it take for a man to know he wants to make something official with a woman?
I'm gonna answer that last.
All right, Steve Tower, how long it took you?
Um, well, it all depends on the person. So, like I said, I've been divorced for 4 years now, and I've dated, probably about 6 or 7 women, and never been in a relationship. Kind of been on and off, you know, years at a time. And like I stated earlier, I recently just got in a relationship, and it took me all of what 3 or 4 weeks to know, like, hey,
Mm,
this one,
Mm,
this one I want to move forward with, and literally cut everybody off. Uh,
mm.
Receiving texts, not responding back, like, because
mm.
it's not worth it.
So what you
What I've
saying to
experienced.
me? It don't take y'all
Not
long.
look, what y'all was talking about earlier, experiencing something that you haven't before. I'm experiencing all that, and it's not worth losing. So hey,
Oh,
I'm putting my best foot forward right now. But
brother,
I'm gonna tell
Mm-mm-mm.
you my struggle though.
you made my heart stop.
Even I'm not sure. I know you said you went through a divorce, but having kids too. Um, what I struggle with is setting boundaries, right?
Mm,
So not dating for a while, or well, let me back it up. I've never brought anybody around my kids since I've been divorced. They haven't been anyone. So with my ex-wife, she's been dating, the whole time. So the kids have been around, her significant other. But for me, you know, it- it's just me at the house, and when they're with me, it's just us, right?
right.
So when I say setting boundaries, my ex-wife, she's comfortable coming around, not knowing that there's no one else there, right? So it's you comfortable, right? But now that there's somebody here, trying to set those boundaries, that's what I've been struggling with, right?
Mm.
But now that I came across the right person, it's forcing me to, hey, put my foot
You
down,
trying
and,
to lose it. I know
have
that's
those
right.
tough conversations, because I'm not losing what I got, so.
I
Okay.
know that's right. You
Absolutely.
better do it. You better do it. So basically, like I said, I know because I've heard this way too many times. Like especially because I've had a man ask me to be exclusive with him after 3 weeks of knowing him. I've had that I've encountered men actually dating me intentionally and saying, "Hey, you know what? I feel like you're gonna be my wife someday." Now, did I feel that mutual? Maybe not because they had some other stuff going on in the background that I just wasn't with. But I I thank you for confirming that. Come on, Mr. Sexologist. What you since Avid said he gonna answer last.
I think it's up to the person. You can know immediately, or you can know later on down the line. It depends on where you are in your life, what space you're in, what you desire. While dating, are you intentionally dating or are you recreational dating? And so, for me and how I study love, love is the only emotion that we suppress. I can
Mm,
be angry immediately. I can be mad. I can be happy. I can be excited. But I can't love you on day one. I can't love you in day three
Hey, he
because
know what he's talking about.
it's against the rules. And so if I decide to operate how I want to operate, if I say I don't need permission to love you, I don't need you to love me in return. But if I decide to open up and be like, yo, I love you, and that's day three, I can love you in day three. And like I said, I want to be exclusive with you on day three. That's my choice. That's my preference. That's what I desire to pursue because I'm intentional. I've already asked the questions. I've already created scenarios. I've already, you know what I'm saying? We already started to go on that path. I already told you, I already been transparent. I already said, this is what I desire. This is what I desire from you. Can you do this? Are
Mm,
you willing to try this? You can say yay or nay. That's all up to you. But I can put it out there immediately whenever I feel it.
hey,
Mm.
that's what I'm talking about, you know? And that's why I be trying to get people to understand, like, you can't really have a time limit, but there's also a such thing as a time limit when it comes to people knowing what they want right away. Like, you pretty much can see a person and be like, you know what? Like, I've encountered this person in my space. I've encountered this person out in public. I've encountered these are the characteristics that this person presents to me. I think that this is worth an active try. Let me go ahead and push forward and try to see if I can build a stronger bond with this person. So kudos to you and both of y'all. Now let me hear from Mr. Abby because I'm
Oh,
interested to know why he wanted to go last.
oh, it's my turn.
Yeah, it's your turn.
Yeah, well, I mean, I agree with everything that was said so far. It really does depend on the person and where you are or what space you're in, and what that person shows you at that time. So, for instance, you can encounter somebody who seems to have damn near everything that you're looking for at that exact time, and everything just feels right real soon. Like it can be date number one, it can be the first conversation you have or whatever. And then for some people, it can take a little bit. It can take a little bit longer, depending on that person's personality or how long it takes them to open up to people. I've had people. I'm a little. I don't like to admit it, and I hate that I'm admitting it on a freaking podcast. But I'm the shy type or whatever. So I'm not like super aggressive when it comes to dating and all that stuff or whatever. So I've encountered people that was like more shy than I am. So it might take them a little bit longer to open up to me also. So the dating process can kind of be a little extensive for us to kind of open up to each other. You know what I mean? So in that situation, it can take weeks or months for us. Whereas me and another person, it may be like the first two encounters we have where we just feel like everything is where it needs to be, and I feel like I can date this person exclusively right off the bat. You know what I mean? That don't happen often. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, it's like things that sometimes you have to feel things out with a person. I've been on situations where I've had two dates, and the lady told me that she was ready to make me her man like right then. I was like, I needed more time. You
Okay,
know what I'm saying? Because it's certain things that I look for. I need more than a couple of dinners for me to know if I want to be with you long term or not. You know
right.
what I mean? I need to
You need
know
your
how you
logic.
treat people. I need to know how you talk to the waiter when we go out. I need to know how you talk to your kids, how you love your mom, how you love your like. I need to know your characteristics. You know what I'm saying? It's more than just a couple of vibes we had. You know what I mean? A quick example. I met a girl one time, and we exchanged numbers, talked, FaceTime. We did all that for weeks at a time, or for a few weeks. We were supposed to go out on a date, and then I saw her on TikTok live one time. I clicked on her live, and the way I saw her talking to her 2 year old son, using every curse word possible to her son. You know what I'm saying? It's like I wouldn't have known that about her just going on a dinner with her. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? So it's like sometimes you got to give time. You know what I mean? Sometimes people just want to rush into stuff and offer the attraction off the first initial meeting, and sometimes you gotta date a little while longer to know these things about people. So I choose not to rush into things. I mean, if it feels right, it feels right. If you want to go with it, then go with it or whatever. But sometimes you gotta let things play out a little bit.
right. But that's why it's also important to be in a person's space too. You got to be in their space. They
Exactly.
got to be in your space. Like, it can't just be, oh, we're going on a dinner date and I'm gonna choose you because this dinner date went so well. No, you got to
Right.
actually actively be in this person's presence. How you are with me if I come sleep at your house and are
Exactly.
you snoring loud
I'm
and it's keeping me
situational.
up? Are you gonna go to the couch or you gonna make me go to the couch type of
Like,
stuff? Like,
can we take a 3 hour road trip, and we tripping out the whole time, or are you sleeping over there and I'm bored as hell driving? Like, what is, you know what I'm saying? I need to know situations.
Yeah. And then also, even with that being said, you have to also practice what you preach, because you can't tell a
True.
person, get off your phone, but then you, but when you're
Right.
not on your phone, now you want to fuss at the other person. You can't do that. Like, no, that's
Right.
not how that works. Or
Yeah.
even when it comes to how you treat a person, if this person is in your space and they're trying everything to make sure you good, you calm, you comfortable, you feeling good, and you just that person ain't gonna want to be around you. They're gonna be like, you know,
I will say this though. There's
so
been times where I've encountered people or a person to where um their vibe feels so right that you want to take your time with that person. So it makes you not want to rush a situation. So it can go both ways. You know what I'm saying? It can feel to the point to where you can make a decision real quick on if you want to be with that person or if you want to take your time and make sure it's all the way right.
but I
I've been on both sides.
I also said, to your point, I do understand that. But even in that I'm gonna take my time with this person, you're still gonna treat them well.
Right.
Still going
100%.
to you're still going
Yeah,
to
that's not gonna
this
change.
this is the path in which I'm trying to take you. Like, I just want us,
Right.
and you're gonna communicate that, hey, look, I'm really feeling you, but I want
Right.
us to really take our time with this. Make sure that this is something that we both want. You know, communication. She already put it up there. Communication is key. That's all anybody.
Exactly.
Woman, I think the lady said this. I saw her on a panel, and she said, "I thrive in clarity." All women, most women, I'll say, women,
Yes.
not little girls, but women thrive in clarity. All you have to do is talk to 'em. That's
Women hate to be confused.
oh my god. Because if I gotta be
That's the number one
confused,
thing.
I think I told my friend this one time. I said, if I gotta wonder about you, I'm gonna wander off. Cause I mean, it's not to say I'm gonna go to somebody else, but I'm gonna just
Right.
wonder where I'm not being mistreated. I'm gonna wander off
Right.
where I am celebrated. I don't want to be tolerated by nobody. Like,
Correct.
I'm in your space and you just tolerating me because I'm there. No, I want you to desire being with me. I want you to say, you know what, Ash, I missed you. I want you to come over
Mm.
to, or look, I missed you. I need to come over. I need to see you some kind of way. We can go somewhere. We can
Right.
meet in the parking lot. I don't care. I just want to see you. That's all anybody wants. It's just that
Right.
communication that, hey, look, I'm feeling you. I know, look, or hey, look, I'm not good at expressing my emotions. I know I got some work to do, but just understand I do like you,
As long as it's communicated.
as long as it's communicated. I think that's the biggest issue that a lot of us just don't know how to talk to each other.
Mm.
So I will say this, like, so I gotta ask C Tower this, because since he's in the relationship. Now, how did you ask? Because I know, like, okay, I'm gonna tell you now. Most of us, because we thrive in clarity. We know. I want to be asked. I want to be said. I want the man to sit down with me and say, "Look, you've been dating. I really like you. Hey, can you be my girl? You want to be my girlfriend? I don't care if you got to give me a girlfriend proposal. I look at something. So, how did you come about making it official with your girl?
Um, I think towards the beginning, like within the first 2 weeks, I just inquired a question, you know, where you see this going, because it was one of those deals, just conversating on the phone, but then it became an everyday thing. If I don't text in the morning, what happened to you this morning, right? So it was always clarifying, hey, we're just friends, and I was cool with that, right? But I'm like, being friends, I shouldn't be expected to give you that good morning text either, though,
Hmm.
right? And it got to a point where, you know, I felt like if I got a phone call and somebody said, "Hey, come pull up," I felt like I would have had to lie, right? So that becomes like confusing. So now I need to clarify, hey, what are we doing, right?
Mm.
So it ended up getting to the point where, we start communicating more, and I've been trying to work on my communication skills and expressing how I feel and emotions and all that. and then we just came to the point where it just happened, you know. And she was like, "Oh, you didn't even realize we've been together." Hey, I'm with it. That's how it happened, pretty much, you know.
That's one way of doing it.
That's what's
But I'm
up.
gonna tell you like this: I ain't assuming nothing, man. I last time I assumed something, a man
Mm.
introduced me after 7 months of dating, introduced me as his homegirl. So I was like,
Ooh.
oh, I'm a home. You know what? I tell you what,
Wow.
I don't do what we do with my friends, so I'm gonna just
Mm.
go ahead and have it. So I always try to do a checkup. Because even like 5 to 6 month mark, I'm like at that point you should know if you want to date me exclusively or not. Like I shouldn't be in
True.
no talking phase. Come on now, come on. We're not doing that. We too grown for that. I mean that's children stuff. Like if you want to play with the kids, go. You do that. You go there. But yeah, okay, all right. So Avid.
Uh-oh.
So when it comes to um this whole official thing, right?
Okay.
If if you never made it official with a woman, right? Would you consider
Mhm.
her an ex? Whether you whether you slept with her or not, if you never made it official, would you consider her an ex?
No, I can't. Like I
No,
can't.
don't laugh.
No,
Don't.
no. Okay, so this is you can't do that because this is gonna sound bad. Hold on. Because okay, and a lot of times you end up with not a lot of people, but you end up with a few situations that you never made official. So it end up making you end up seeming like you had a lot of exes, and I ain't
Yeah.
about that. Because like me, I'm a relationship person.
Right.
My relationships in the past have been pretty long. Like the ones that I do count as relationships, I've been in a 4 year relationship, a 6 year relationship, and a 9 and a 15 year relationship basically.
Mhm.
So I have long relationships. So I don't count the little situationships as exes. Like
Right.
no.
Okay, okay. I feel the same way though. Like I just want to know that men and women are on the same boat with that because I've had people claim me as their ex, and I'm like, baby, you ain't even kissed me on my lips. So what are you talking about? Like,
Yeah,
no,
you can't do that.
no proof, no case, no face.
Yeah, that's when you get
Post
classified as like the person I used to talk to type of thing.
right, but I don't
Or
even
like
consider that. I don't even look, honey. I ain't talking to nobody. I ain't talking. Look, at the end of the day, it's non-existent if we didn't make anything official. Even if it was like, hey, I want to date you. Now, if you say I want to date you, okay, that's the person I used to date. Cool.
right.
It's not my ex. We never made anything official, but that's somebody I used to date. But talking, maybe I conversate with everybody. I conversate with a lot of folks. So I'm gonna be saying I talk to a lot of folks. So go talk to Jesus because I ain't her.
Yeah, if you don't have to officially break up, then you can't say y'all was together.
Mm, mm, mm. That is true. If you
Yeah.
don't have to make, yeah, yeah, very true. Very true. What about you? The sexologist?
Me personally, I really don't like titles. So
Mm.
saying
Mm,
girlfriend, boyfriend, I don't like to be called king. I don't like none of that. So I'm really big on intentions. Like if you love me. Once we get married, if we get divorced, which not gonna will never happen, you can call me your ex. But other than that, like I will only say, oh, that's my girlfriend to make you happy, and not because it's something that I truly believe in. And so I don't be like, oh, that's an ex or that's my girl or that's my. I don't really believe in titles that way because I really believe in experiencing people. I used to be a person who used to have those attachments and have people as possessions. That's mine. That's my girl. That's my boo. That's my bae. That's my thing. She belongs to me. That cookie mine, that this mine is mine. Versus experiencing who they are. When you possess something, you kind of control it. They
I
have
can
to
see that.
operate in a certain space. They have to do certain things. Well, since I'm a girlfriend, I can't do X, Y, and Z. I need you to
Right.
be.
I
I
get
need you to
that.
be. I need you to be Ashley all the time.
I got
I
Mm.
questions.
don't. I don't need you to
How
be.
do you hold people accountable for if you agree to a commitment? How do you hold them accountable?
I have contracts. I'm a
Right.
contract. I love contracts. Contracts hold people accountable. I will teach you how to love me.
Hmm.
I will tell you all of my requirements. I will do everything. I will put it all in black and white for you. So you have no excuse to say, well, I didn't know you like that. I didn't know that was your love language. I didn't know that this is your favorite thing to do. I didn't know. And then we change the contract weekly. We revisit the contract. Well, is your favorite color still purple? Is your favorite candy still nerd ropes? Is your, you know what I'm saying? We tap into those and you're like, no, well, I experienced this new candy. I love M&Ms now. And so now, like, okay, our new candy is M&Ms. It just contracts is not for a controlling thing, but it teaches me how to love you versus love you out of habit. Because I can always love you like my past relationships taught me how to love, or I can give you the love that you require.
I need
And
titles.
So
I'm sorry.
are
Oh
we
yes, put that
being
contract. I need a
right,
title
so you need a
because
are
title.
we
if
So
we in
I'm
reviewing
public,
contracts weekly?
like
don't
that's my girl.
if we in public or anything, I need them to know who I am. I ain't no contract in there. We got our own contract and we can
But
have that behind closed
the
doors.
cool part about
But
that
in
though,
public,
I can call you my girl and still cheat on you. It happens all the time.
very
I
true,
can call you my girl and still text other people.
very
I
true.
can call you my girl and
But
still not love
but
you right.
but here's the thing with that. You are still held accountable for that commitment because
By
here's the
who?
at the end of the day, when you call me or you claim to be committed to me, you are essentially saying that I'm going to make sure that I do right by this person. And so if you do not, at that point, I can decide, hey, you know what? I see how you do your girlfriends,
Hmm.
and I don't want to be your girlfriend. So let
So
me
Right.
bow the fuck out.
is it real? Is it really how I treat you as my girlfriend or how I treat you as a person? The title, the how I love you as a
No, I get
girlfriend or as Ashley is not going to change. The only
no,
thing that
I
changes is the
get that.
validation of a title. That someone else can say that's his girl, and they're like, yeah, that's his
I
girl.
get
Then what?
that. I get that. But at the end of the day, again, is there's a sense of clarity that needs to be in place when it comes to any type of relationship. And
What's
if
more
we are
clear than
agreeing,
I love you?
it,
Uh,
baby, my
I'm just
grandma can
asking.
love me, my mama can
Okay.
love me, my neighbor can love me. You see what I'm saying? So loving me ain't got nothing to do with what we agree on as far as a committed relationship is
I
concerned.
got I got something.
Go ahead.
Okay, I think like what y'all are kind of debating on. I like to talk about this thing that's called a fit. Like when people date, you need to date what fits you and what fits
Ooh,
your standard and what fits your morals and what your beliefs are.
there you go, baby.
Just like Mr. Sexologist or whatever. What's your name?
Steven.
That's your name. What's your Steven?
Yes.
Okay, just like for whatever he feels like he needs to be with somebody that fits that, and there's no rebuttals there. You know what I'm
True,
saying?
very
It's just
true.
like any kind of situation. It can be whether you want to be in a monogamous relationship or if you want to be in a poly relationship. If somebody wants three wives, there are three women out there that don't
That's
mind that
okay with it.
situation.
Yeah, very
Correct.
true.
So it's like there's no right and wrong. It's just finding what fits you. And I think
True.
society keeps telling us what's right and what's wrong and what relationships look like. You determine what your relationship looks like.
Correct.
You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So if you want somebody, if you say, "Hey, I need a title," you need to be with somebody that feels the same way. Like I want titles. You can't be with somebody that don't believe in titles. That's like oil and water.
And I think that's the biggest reason why you should be asking these questions throughout
Exactly.
things
But I
because
have a question.
okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
but that's important to ask these questions while you're dating. But here's also the other downside to that. When a person is not open to talk about relationship stuff and
Right.
what a relationship looks like to them, it's really hard to even gauge if this person even wants to be in a relationship at all.
That's
So
when you abort
at that
mission.
point,
That's
there you go.
exactly.
There you go.
That's
You
not the
gotta
person.
get up out of there because at the end
Not
of
the
the
Yeah.
day,
person.
if that person is not open to get to know you in that
Mm-mm.
capacity, you already have your answer to know that this person is not seeking anything serious in the first
Yeah.
place.
Stamp your deal breakers right off the top and then move on.
Yeah.
That's why when women start to be in project management, oh, he's a project. I can make him do something
I ain't doing
different.
no
Or
building.
I can have him be different. Well, if I stay, he'll open up for me. Okay.
The
When
builder.
they talk about those red flags.
Right. What you was about to say, Alicia B?
I said it's the Build-A-Bear workshop.
I'm telling you, I ain't doing that.
Exactly. A Build-A-Bear workshop.
Why wouldn't y'all be? I have two questions now. I'm so curious. So first one was like he Evan said, well, if somebody don't believe in titles, you can't be with somebody that don't believe in titles. If you believe in titles, my thought process on it is, if I don't believe in titles, but I love you enough to give you one, that's a compromise on me. I don't require you to call me your boyfriend. I will call you my girlfriend all day. Who's she? My girlfriend. Because I love you enough to give you that. Because that's what you desire. I feel like that's what love represents.
And
I don't believe in something for me, but I love you enough to give it to you because my love is for you.
right.
Your love is for me. So I'm going to give you whatever it is you're asking for because I love you.
That's a
That
good
But
that
point.
actually
it's
is a
not
good
required for you to give it to me
compromise.
back though.
That's actually not a bad compromise. And also even with compromises, you have to know what you're compromising because something so mundane as a title and you not wanting to say it, I mean, that's compromisable. Come on. But if you're talking about a person's character flaw, like,
Yeah.
okay, you can't even meet me halfway type of stuff, then it's like, okay, I can't compromise always being the one initiating, always being the one putting forth the effort, and you just sitting back. Well, this feels good, but I ain't got to do nothing for it.
Why don't no one like building, but they always want a relationship to build with someone? But nobody want to go to the Build-A-Bear workshop,
Hold
but
on,
everybody wants to build.
let me clarify what building means.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
in my perspective, I don't know about other women. I'm only going to speak peaches. Okay, when I say I'm not building a man, I
Hmm.
mean to the point where I can't sit here and if I'm coming into a situation and I know I can clearly see that you are struggling traumatic experiences. You see what I'm saying? Like I can see you having a trauma issue. I'm only here to be your therapist when it comes to everyday work stuff. Stuff like that. Day to day things when it comes to our relationship. But if you're coming in with issues, I can't get with that. You're gonna have to work on yourself before you come to me because I'm not building you from scratch. I can't do that. That's too much work for anybody, and that's that's not fair to put that responsibility on someone. I would never come to a man and say, "Oh my god, all men are disgusting. All men treat me like shit. All men this," and you gotta come in and you gotta be like, "Damn, girl, I don't feel like wiping these tears." You gonna be looking like, "Now you know what, baby, you handle that, and I'm gonna go over here." You see what I'm saying? So that's what I mean about Build-A-Bear type dudes. Like I've been with the type of guy where he didn't necessarily have the greatest career at the time, and we built together. Now, unfortunately, when he got what he, you know,
Hmm.
felt that he was able to qualify for the woman he really wanted, then that left me like, damn, okay, all right, cool. Sucks for me, but at least you know what I'm saying. That person is better off now. That's not to say they ain't trying to come back, but at the end of the day, um that's not the type of stuff I mean. I mean, like emotional. It's just some things that you just not gonna be able to. You're not gonna have to. If a person already come in on the ground trying to crawl and scooch to you, you're not gonna. You can only pick up a certain amount of weight, and it's based on your tolerance level. And I can't pick you up from the ground, baby. You gotta at least be able to walk. And I'll hold support you while we walk together, but I'm not gonna sit up here and carry you the whole way. I'm not doing
I will build all day long, but we have to be building towards the same thing. It's just like
that.
if you are telling me that the reason why, if you're saying like Stephen, um I don't give titles, I don't believe in titles, it's how I treat you. If I'm like I think about relationships in the form of businesses, right? Not like marriage is a business, but it is. But it's a business where we're sharing goals. So relationships for me is the same thing. I am not hiring anybody to be a CEO of Quadisha Incorporated unless you have the qualifiable credentials. What I'm not trying to do is let the intern be the CEO. I need you to have been the intern. I need you to have been the frontline person. I need you to have been on the technical side. Then I need you to go to management level, and I need you to have been a director, SVP, SVP. I need you to have done those levels if you're trying to be the CEO of me. But I don't need you to be that in my life. I kind of need you to do those things in the time for yourself, maybe through your experiences with dating, before you can come to me. And the reason why I say that is because for me, my dating is me being and playing in those different positions within myself so that I can be the CEO for you and you could be the CEO for me. And we can exchange. And then from being CEOs with one another, we're now working on being a conglomerate together. And that doesn't mean that I'm not a CEO that can't compromise, that can't learn and continue to evolve. But if I am your CEO and you're my CEO and we have the same vision, at some point I'm going to go in and out of the CEO role, because now if you have a vision and you're leading us, I'm playing the president to execute what your vision is. And it might flip. My husband and I, he will tell you, he tells his friends all day long, listen, this shit is not 50-50. Sometimes this shit is 99-1. She might be going hard in the paint 99% of the time, but I might work a 12-hour shift. I got to come home and clean up sometimes. I got to watch my kids while she out here doing and go grinding. And then it might flip. If he at 1 and I need to be at 99 is what we do. But I wouldn't have been able to select him if he wouldn't have been somebody that I could build with. So I love building. I love creating and taking things, but it's really about that person and knowing what, if they're willing to do the work. If I express to my husband that something is bothering me, he may not always be quick to be like acknowledging it. But if I express it enough, he may be like, you know what, shit, she might be on to something. I might need to consider that. Even to the point where I'll start therapy. I can suggest some things if I notice something like, you know what, this look like it's hurting you a lot, or this seemed like it's bothering you a lot. You might need to talk to somebody about it. It may take him a little while to come around to it, but eventually, right, he'll get to it. And the same thing for me. I'm strong-minded. Listen, he'll be like, so Miss, I think I know everything. And I have to humble myself sometimes because I do get in a space where I'm like, you know what? I've had to operate so much by myself to solve so many problems on my own, to where I may think that I know everything about whatever it is that I'm doing, but it's not until I take my ego out of it to know that, you know what? I chose him to be a partner with me, to at least recognize when he's telling me that I might need to do something. So the building is important to me, but I need to know if you're worthy of me building with.
True.
And I need you to be able to play certain positions, because sometimes you might have to go back to the intern role if we're doing something new and undiscovered and neither one of us know what the hell we're doing. If we're embarking on, you know what, I may want to quit my job and you're going to have to play this whole housewife out, or you might be house daddy. He might not be used to that. He's a provider.
Mhm.
He not, you know what I mean? Coming completely outside of a role that he's been practicing pretty much his whole life to do something new. You do have to transition in and out of the roles, but I'm willing to build with him because he's shown me that he is the person that I should build with by doing certain things in the beginning.
and and people don't understand that, true leadership comes from the fact that you have to sometimes reach down to subordinates. Okay, a lot of times men think, oh, I'm the leader, what I say go, but baby, no, you actually have a person sitting beside you that may actually come to I always tell people, I work smarter, not harder. So if there is something that I can see and I say, well, baby, what about if we tried it this way? And all you saying is, no, we're not gonna do it that way. I might let you have the last say, right? However, when that crumbles and crashes and you feeling stressed out and you didn't listen, you gotta eat that. And that's a lot of times where a lot of, like, even when it comes to how a man leads, they'll be like, oh, I'm stressed out, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm this and this and this. But if you had just reach back to your wife or your girlfriend or whoever you are in that committed relationship and ask them, hey, you know what, baby, I'm thinking about doing this. What you think? You may have actually come out a easier outcome or a better pathway to where you still want to get to.
Mm.
And now let me throw something out there to the men, because I've had this conversation with male friends before and even my husband, and I'll say, why didn't you feel comfortable enough that you could trust going back to her and talking to her about that? Like, is that something that you feel, men on the panel, do you feel like I may not have asked you because I may not have been able to trust that you were going to be able to give me or expose me to or allow me to, without judgment, come to you and talk to you about how to resolve what the issue might be? Is there ever any issue, or do you feel like ego or any of those things impact your ability to go and ask for the help and reach, or maybe you didn't trust her enough to be able to do that? Does any of that play a role in your decision making to be able to reach out and ask for help?
I can say for me, it has in the past, and that's like a learning experience for me. Like before, um, like ego is a big thing for everybody. A lot of people don't even admit that they have ego
You
issues.
know, keep you
Like I
single.
think, yeah, I think everybody has ego issues to a certain degree or whatever. But it's up to the relationship or the people involved in a relationship to establish those boundaries or to make it comfortable for each person to be able to come to each other for those things. You know what I'm saying? Those are things you establish from the beginning. And I had to learn that through past relationships that those are things that I need to establish in the beginning going forward in new relationships that I create. You know what I mean? I don't want to have those issues where I'm trying to be 100% open. I'm trying to be honest and vulnerable in every situation. So there's no holes in our relationship. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So I want it to be where I can come to you for anything, whether it's something that I feel uncomfortable, whether it's something I feel that you should take the lead on, or vice versa. You know what I mean? Those are things you need to establish in the beginning, so you don't have those issues years down the line.
Right.
For me, I don't have an ego when it comes to asking for anything. It will always be for me. I will always look at you as my partner, as my support, and that a person I should be able to talk to. Now, your response to whatever it is that I tell you will determine what I do with you in the future. And so,
Mm,
if I bring things to your attention and you belittle me for it, or you demean me for it, or you bring it back up as a negative thing on a different day in a different argument when you were upset with me, or if you
That's
criticize
big.
me for not knowing the information, you should know this by now. It's like, well, I didn't know it. That's why I
mm,
asked you. I didn't know how to navigate through this space. I didn't know things about finances. I didn't know how to invest. I didn't know, what I'm saying, this about women, whatever it may be. I came to you because I did not know the answer, and you're the person that I trust to tell me or to help me or to assist me. And you bring it up in a negative light later on, I ain't gonna ask you shit else. Don't even worry about it.
Right.
I ain't gonna ask you nothing. I figured out. I Google it before I ask you.
yeah, I
I
think
call
that's
I call my homeboys. I call anybody
That's
but
how I
you.
yeah,
Google it.
I think that's where a lot of us and I'm gonna tell you, I've struggled with not necessarily bringing it up in a negative way, but like you know how when a person will say to you, "Oh, I'm missing XYZ or I'm not getting XYZ." And then you be like, "But wait, I just did XYZ." You see what I'm saying? So I may bring it up as a response. And also that's one a trauma response that people don't understand. I know that's a thing that I still have to work on. So it's just one of those things where like I'm so used to trying to explain myself. I'm so used to trying to make my case and say, "Hey, look, no, see me. This is what you're not seeing." And because of that, I think that may in turn make it so it's hard for a person to come to me and ask me certain things because they may feel attacked because I'm mentioning all the things I did, but it's more so in response to, well, you feel like and you know what, maybe a better approach for future would be to say, well, okay, so even though I'm in the back of my mind thinking, oh, I did XYZ for you. Okay, well, what will make you feel comfortable or what will make you feel like you are loved or cared for. I think that's a future thing I may need to work on. So,
Cool.
but okay, well, it is actually getting to closing time. We actually went a little bit over our time, y'all. But I do appreciate everybody that joined in on the panel discussion. We didn't get nearly to half the question, which I kind of figured would happen. But like we only did like 5 questions, y'all, and y'all know I sent like 20 of them.
Now we do a
So
part two.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
the
definitely
part
has
two.
to be a part two for sure, for sure. But I just want to thank everybody in the viewing audience and anybody that commented. We really appreciate the views. And of course, you guys, I always love your feedback. So please make sure you join us for part two, and hopefully that will be next month. But as always, you guys, you stay sweet.